Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to give it a minute or two just to let the Zoom room fill up with as many of you as possible before we get going. You're all very welcome. We've got a great webinar lined up for you today. While you're waiting, please say hello in the chat panel. Tell us your branch, your union, and what you hope to learn from today's session. Hi, everyone who's just joined us in the past few seconds. You're all very welcome to today's webinar. We'll be getting going in about a minute. We're just letting as many of you as possible join us. Great to see so many of you already telling us where you're from. We've got people from across the country and a big range of unions. Okay, I think I'm going to get going with some of the webinar housekeeping. So you're all really welcome today for what is our 16th webinar of 2025 and our final one of the year. We've had a great year and we're finishing on a real high with something a bit different, which I'm going to get to in a minute. As ever, we've got live captions on today's webinar. If you want to switch those on, please click the captions button, which is at the bottom of the screen, and you can follow along with those. Many of you are already using the chat panel. Please continue to do that during the webinar. You can use that to exchange tips and ideas and talk about your experiences in your branch and in your workplace. We are saving questions for our panel. So again, at the bottom of the video screen, there's a Q&A button. Please put any questions there and we'll get to as many of them as we can after we've heard from our speakers. And of course, today is recorded as we always do. If you miss anything or you have to drop out for any reason, please don't worry. We'll make sure you are sent a link to the recording along with any resources that we talk about during today's session. That email will come to you either later today or tomorrow when we've gathered everything together. So today's webinar is about managing union finances and making you branch treasurers or union branch staff lives easier. And we're joined by a fantastic panel from Unity Trust Bank. We're going to be hearing from them shortly about some practicalities around banking. But the purpose of today's webinar is straightforward. We want to help you manage your Unity Trust Bank accounts with confidence. And during this session, we're going to highlight the tools and resources that are available through the bank and share lots of practical tips to make your day-to-day work with Unity easier and more efficient. So today is a joint event between us and Unity Trust. So we've got a big range of speakers today. You can see them all on screen at the moment. Not only have we got 4 people from Unity Trust Bank who are going to be telling you about the practicalities of the accounts. We've got Claire, Danielle, Tom and Martin. We're also joined by Colin Fife, CEO of Unity Trust Bank, and Paul Nowak, General Secretary of the TUC. And we'll be hearing from each of them shortly. So we're going to have a short introduction to Unity Trust Bank first before we go on to the practicalities. So first of all, I'm going to ask Paul Nowak, TUC General Secretary, to kick us off with a bit of background about why we're doing this and why it's so important for us at the TUC. So Paul, over to you.
Well, thanks, Anna, and thanks in advance to you, everybody in the TUC team, everybody in the Unity Trust team who's helped set up today's event. Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining the call. I'm just going to say a few words of introduction, and I'm going to say that really wearing 2 hats. So my day job, obviously, as General Secretary of the TUC, but also as a board director and as president of Unity Trust Bank. And important to remember, Unity Trust Bank is a trade union bank. It was launched by unions over 40 years ago. We are its major shareholders, and along with others, mainly people in the voluntary sector, non-profit, social organisations, we're the major customers of the bank as well. So something like 9 out of 10 of our unions affiliated to the TUC bank with Unity Trust Bank. Now, Colin, no doubt, will say more about this in a few moments, but what makes Unity unique, as well as the fact it's owned by unions, is its focus on the double bottom line. What does that mean? Well, first of all, of course, it's a commercial operation, and as a commercial operation, it generates sustainable long-term returns for unions. That's really important in terms of supporting our broader work to represent people at work, to make sure our organisations are on a sound financial footing, that we can afford the services and support that and the organising capacity that unions need. But it's also about supporting projects and initiatives that deliver really positive social impact right across the country. So really pleased, to be a part of Unity Trust Bank. I'm really pleased that we could work with Unity to deliver today's event. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about what the webinar will cover, but for me, I mean, just to say, I think it covers two fundamentals of our movement. The first thing is it's about supporting our branches and our lay reps to be as effective as possible. And at the end of the day, what makes our movement special, what means we have purchase in workplaces up and down the country, is the work that's done by our reps and local branches at a workplace level. And, branches are fundamental to our democracy. They are fundamental to our effectiveness as a movement. Second thing that's really important and is linked to that, it's about ensuring that we are looking after members' resources and using those resources as effectively as possible. And I think that's something that everyone in our movement, at every level in the movement, takes seriously. And whether it's the TUC as a national organisation or a national union or a local branch, I'm sure we are all conscious that what we're dealing with is members' money. It's those £3 and £4 and £5 a week that our members trust us with, that they pay on a voluntary basis, that we've got to make sure that we're looking after and using as effectively as possible. And again, whether you're a branch secretary or a branch treasurer or a branch or a steward, or if, indeed you're in my position in terms of general secretary of the TUC, probably most of us didn't come into the movement to spend our time looking after accounts and the finances of the movement, but it's a really important part of what we do. Some people on the call may be accountants by trade. I certainly am not an accountant by trade. And so I think it's really important that it's easy for us to find our way around our financial systems, that we do the basics well and do them right. And ultimately, that's also about a better use of everybody's time. We don't want to spend time, doing unnecessary finance admin and related things. What we want to do is spend our time representing members and organising members to the best of our ability. So I hope that people get a lot out of the session. I hope that people enjoy the session. I know we've got other sessions planned throughout the course of next year. But as I say, Anna, thanks a lot for everything that you're doing and the wider team are doing and the panelists will do in terms of the webinar itself. I'll hand back to you and over to Colin as well.
Thanks, Paul, for that great intro. And I don't know whether you've had a chance to look at the chat, but we've got branch treasurers, branch auditors, branch chairs, regular stewards, people who want to find out more. I think we've got a huge range, like across the spectrum and from so many different affiliates. So really great to see. So now we'll hand over to Colin Fife, Unity Trust Bank CEO, to give us his take on why we're doing this webinar and a bit of background about Unity. So Colin, over to you.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Paul. Great to be with you this afternoon. And let me just share a little bit more about Unity. And it was in 1984 that the trade union movement got together and said, let's start a bank. But not any old bank, but a bank that focuses on the customer, focuses on service, focuses on people, and also focuses on the double bottom line that Paul mentioned. So a bank that focuses on good, the common good, as it was termed back in the day, not on profits or dividends or cost cutting. 41 years later, in 2025, that purpose is as strong as it was in 1984. Our links with the trade union movement are as strong as they were then. the common values that we share, and fundamentally, we are your bank. So as your bank, it's important that we listen to the feedback, and we gather it through a variety of surveys. We've got a trade union satisfaction survey, and you've told us that some of our banking processes are complex or too time consuming. So today's session is designed to start to unpick those and make it clearer and more straightforward for you. Hand in hand with the TUC, we want to do this today and as long as we can keep running these seminars. We've themed today making union branch staff's lives easier. And the reality is, making your lives easier makes local communities' lives better, because your money goes to support the local communities up and down the UK. So, for example, in 2024, our lending was supporting over 50% of it was in areas of deprivation where people had that pronounced need. Our lending created 3,100 jobs, that created 1,798 care home spaces, 1,806 daycare spaces, 1,109 affordable homes, and 216 educational spaces. That is all your banking is making a real difference across the local areas in the UK. So we really appreciate the relationship we've got. We want to take it to the next level. I hope you enjoy today's session. And if there's anything you want to call out that you'd like to hear in future sessions, just put it in the chat and we'll gather that up later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colin, for giving us that background and the really useful information about the work that Unity Trust Bank does for working people as well. So I believe that Paul and Colin, I think you have to leave us now, but thank you so much for kicking us off. And we're absolutely going to be having more of these sessions next year. So maybe, hopefully, see you on one of those again in 2026.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Enjoy the afternoon.
So now I'm going to hand over to our first speaker from the practicalities point of view. We've got Danielle Maskell, who is Unity Trust Bank's Training and Competency Lead. And she's going to be talking through, as it says on the screen, managing your Unity account. So over to you, Danielle.
Thank you, Anna, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us. So as mentioned, we are going to be taking you through a few slides and some live visuals today, just on how to manage your Unity account better. And if I could ask you to go to the next slide for me, please, just to give an overview of exactly what we'll be going through. So we'll be looking at how to apply for your online banking and updating your signatories through our online account management form, how to activate your online banking for the very first time, and then also how to get the most from your online banking. And then I'll be handing you over to Tom, who'll be talking you through how to open an additional account there as well. So if I could ask you to go to the next slide for me, please. So initially, there are 6 steps on how to apply for your online banking or updating your signatories. We are going to go and show you through a live visual and also be sharing some top tips with you as well as we do go through those. So initially, you'll need to visit our website. So just www.unity.co.uk/update your account details. And then if I can ask you to go to the next slide on the video. Alternatively, from our homepage, you can select our designated Union Hub. And if you scroll slightly down the page, under Manage Your Accounts, you can select Find Out More. And that will take you straight through where you will need to select Start a New Application. To prevent your application from being returned, please do read these notes before acknowledging and proceeding, as we may ask you for a few details such as identification. And then what you want to select is adding individuals. That will take you through to our contact page. So here you will need to enter in your organisation name and the 8-digit account number. So please make sure this is the full branch name that you would like to make the changes on, followed by your name, your email and your telephone number. So just to know, these details given to us, the email and telephone number, should there be anything wrong with the application or we need further details from you, this is the email that we will forward that to. So please make sure it's not a group email and the submitter does have access to it as well. Once you have selected continue, you'll then be given an option to add an individual. So you just need to select yes, and then start completing the individual names there. So you'll just see on the right-hand side, it is triggering a save constantly. So if at this point you do not have the details to hand, you can save your changes and continue later should you need to do that. We'll need the full legal name of the individual, followed by their position in their branch as well. Then we'll ask you to enter in their personal address. So you can enter that either in manually or just by the postcode, and it should bring you a drop down of options. If the person hasn't lived at that address for longer than 3 years, we will also ask you to provide the old address. So please make sure you do have that to hand as well before completing the application. That'll be followed by your date of birth and again the direct line for this individual, so a telephone number and an email address. It will prompt as well if that is not valid, so it will have a little X next to it. Just make sure that is ticked so we know that it is a valid email address as well. So your nationality and country of residence will be next. And then you can select yes to be an authorised signatory and then yes to register for internet banking there. We'll then ask you to provide a memorable name. So this will be used for all future logons. So if you are completing it on behalf of somebody else, please do make sure that you share that with them. Next will be the authority levels. So we do have VSA, which is viewing your account, submitting payments or authorising payments. Just make sure you're selecting the right authority levels for the individual that you are adding to the account. Next will be your resolution and declaration section. So please do make sure you take the time to read through these. There are 3 tick boxes you'll need to select before completing your submission. Once that's been selected, you will then be given a reference number just at the top on the right-hand side there. So please do make a note of the application. So should you need to call us or email us regarding the application, that will help us locate the application much quicker. Once that's loaded, you will be presented with 2 PDF documents. So the summary of changes just at the top there. So this will be for you, just so you can view all the changes that you have requested, or if you need to send this across to somebody else. And the submission form is the PDF document that you will need to download and sign in wet ink in line with your banking mandate. So should for any reason the existing signatories be unable to sign, please forward this submission form along with the application reference number to your head or regional office and have them sign it and return it to us. So this can be sent either via post to our PO box address on our Contact Us page. It will also be at the bottom of this form, or via email. So that will be to us@unity.co.uk. Or we also have the third option is scanning the document in and using our drag and drop tool on the website. So that will be on your previous page where you've selected download on the submission form. If I could have the next slide, please. So once we have completed your request to add you on as a signatory or an internet user, you will then want to activate your online banking for the first time. So upon receipt of receiving all of your documents, it will take around 10 to 14 days for us to complete that, and you will receive a letter to your home address. So we'll go through the next 7 steps through another online visual there as well. So if I could ask you to go to the next slide for me. So the letter received, you will have a link to follow. If you are unfamiliar with the website, hopefully you all are. But if not, if you go to unity.co.uk, and select log on just at the top on the right hand corner of the website, or follow the link at the bottom of your letter, and that will be online.unity.co.uk. So we will also provide you with your temporary username within that letter. So as seen on screen, you will just need to enter in that username and then select continue. You'll also then be asked to enter in your temporary password on the same letter, and that will be on a peel-off section. So we would recommend just pressing that against a white background, just for visibility of it as well, because it is finely printed. Your password is case sensitive. It may be made up of both letters and numbers, so please make sure you are entering that as seen. And then next will be your memorable name. So this will be the memorable name that you provided to us at the time of the application. So again, if you are unaware of this, please reach out to the submitter of the application. Alternatively, you can contact us through our union line and we'll be more than happy to support you with this on the telephone. Before selecting login, we just want you to pop in your date of birth and select login there. The next step will be to enter in your telephone number. So please make sure the number you are entering, you do have to hand at the time, as this will trigger our secure customer authentication call. After a few seconds, once you've selected continue, you will receive that call where you'll need to enter in that 4-digit code into the telephone keypad. So should this be a failed attempt up to 3 times, it will mean that you will need to contact us to unlock your account. Once that step has been verified, you'll be asked to then create a 6-digit PIN number. So this will be completely unique to you and that you will use for future logons. So this can be anything other than your date of birth or 3 consecutive numbers. Step 4 will be creating your new password. So again, completely unique to yourself. The password must contain at least 8 characters as seen on screen there, with at least 1 uppercase letter, 1 lowercase and 1 number. And then finally, we'll ask you to enter in your email address. So again, just a top tip, we'd like to steer clear from group emails where possible, just simply because this is a direct email for you. Once you've completed your registration, you will be prompted on screen, as you will see in a few seconds, that we have sent you a verification link. So that link will expire within 10 minutes. It can also be found in the spam or the junk folder. So if you haven't received that email, please do check that folders. Alternatively, give us a call if it's exceeded those 10 minutes, and we'll be more than happy to send you another one as well. So just as a top tip again, if you haven't done this within 10 minutes, it will prevent you logging in from the second time. So please make sure you do that the first time round. And if I can ask for the next slide then, please. So you've successfully logged in now. How can you get the most from your online banking? What is actually available for you? So, through branches, you may have more than one linked account. Our savings or current accounts that we offer. You can have sight of these all at the top of the page once you've logged in, so you can view all of those within one logon. You'll also be able to add, amend, or remove any beneficiaries making payments with submitter access. As an authoriser, you can authorise those beneficiaries or other payments, or creating standing orders as well there. As an administrator, you can also make bulk faster payments. So just to the right-hand side, we have our QR code there and our link to our online tutorials. They're around 2 or 3 minutes long, really handy videos if you are looking to make a bulk faster payment for the first time. We'll also give you additional support there on how to link your Unity accounts to our third-party providers. So you have Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, also how to link to the token app. So please do check those out as well if you do have time. You can also register, view and download your online statements. So these can only go back up to 2 years. So should you require anything previous to that date, please do give us a call or send us a secure message, which you will also have available through online banking. That will come directly into us that we'll be able to support you further with. As an administrator, you can also view your account signatories and internet users. So just referring back to that submission form after you've completed the application, should you need to, if you're not sure who the signatories are to sign, before referring as an administrator, you can check those under our People tab that you'll have sight of once you're online there as well. Lastly, you can also order stationery, so you can order your own paying books or checkbooks if this is something that you require. Once has been ordered, it will take around 10 working days to be received, and that will be sent to your correspondence address. So that's also known when you are completing the account management form as our key contact, just in case there's a difference in terminology there. But these are all the things that you can do once you are registered. And again, please do just make sure you take a few minutes to look at those tutorials. And that is it from myself. So sorry, Anna, I think back to you now.
Thanks, Danielle, and thank you for that helpful intro to getting online for your account. Just a reminder, everyone in the audience, because I appreciate Daniel's just given us a lot of information there. We're recording this live session. We will send you a link to the recording, and these tutorial videos from Unity Trust Bank are also available on their website via, I believe, the Union Hub. We will make sure that link gets sent to you as well, so that you can access all this information in your own time and follow along when you're trying to log on. So next, we're going to hear from Tom Cannon, who is Unity Trust Bank's Deputy Head of Customer Fulfillment. And he's going to be talking us through opening a new or additional account. Now, I think some of the questions that are coming in may already relate to this. So hopefully he'll answer some of your questions ahead, but don't be shy. Keep sending the questions in as well. Over to you, Tom.
Thanks. Fingers crossed, Anna. So thank you and good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to be sharing you the guidance and top tips to open an account with Unity. So if we can go on to the next slide, please. The application process is across 5 key steps. I'm going to give you a feel of how simple the process is, and we're going to walk through step by step so you know exactly what's needed to be able to get started. I'm going to begin first and foremost if you're an existing customer to Unity, so you're already a branch relationship of ours and you're looking to open an additional account. So if we can start the first video, you'll go directly to the website at apply.unity.co.uk, select you're an existing customer and enter your existing account number. Okay. Right, there we go. The video is now playing. We'll then ask you for your contact details. So this is for in case we need to get in contact with you for any reason about the application. We'll also do a refresh of your marketing preferences at this point as well. Once you've done that, we'll ask you which accounts you'd like to apply for as part of the application. So a current account, savings account, and also then some details around the expected activity across the next 12 months. Once you've then done that and you're happy to proceed, you'll enter then your organisation or branch name, enter if you've got a relationship manager, and then your account management. So that's if you'd like a checkbook, a paying book, or if you'd like to transfer any funds into the new account once then that's been opened. Once we move to the next stage, we'll then move to the really exciting part, which is all the terms and conditions and declarations. So please do go through and read those carefully and select those boxes. Now that's the form for an additional account. So you'll see it's really simple and really straightforward. What you will need to do at this stage is you will need to download a copy of the application form. It will need to be printed and signed in wet black ink. It will need to be signed in accordance with your existing bank mandate. So that's really important to avoid then any delays in us being able to open and process the account for you. Now there's a couple of ways that you can actually return that document through to us. You can use then the drag and drop, which Danielle shared earlier on in the call, or you can also then send it via email to us at unity.co.uk. Now, if you are new to Unity, so you're setting up a new branch relationship, whether you're switching through or you're just establishing, a lot of the process that I've just shared with you will look familiar. There will be some additional information, though, that's needed, which I'll walk you through in the next video that will require then to be able to complete our checks. So we'll start again at apply.unity.co.uk. If we can go on to the next video. Select your trade union, that your head office already banks with us, your branch name and your branch code. There's some additional eligibility questions that you'll be asked for at this point to then move on to the next part. I'd already refreshed with you earlier around your contact details. So again, you'll be asked at this point to enter those details if we do need to get in touch with you for any reason as part of the application. Once we've then done that, we'll then ask you again for which products that you'd like to apply for. So a current account, a savings account, or a combination of the two. Now, as we then move to the next stage of the form, and you're then ready to proceed, we'll then ask for more specific questions around your organisation. You'll enter into your branch name, website, and phone number. You'll then also input your registered address. So that's where your branch operates from. And you'll be able to use the address finder, which you can see now on screen. There'll be some additional questions that we'll ask for at this stage. So legal status, which you'll enter as trade union, then answer the trade union name, the branch number and region name and number 2. Now there's some free format boxes a little lower into the form, and that will ask you then to provide a brief description around your branch activity. So high level description is absolutely fine for this section. We'll also ask you to describe where the funds are coming from to be able to open the account. So that's likely to be then from membership, donations or subscriptions, or funds directly then through from the head office. Once you've entered that part of the information, we'll then ask you around your key contact. So this is really important because this is where all the communications are going to be sent through to once the account's been opened. So that's for full name, correspondence address, so where all your statements will then be issued to, and the personal address of the key contact. You'll also have to hand before entering those details, so date of birth, residential address history and nationality, and also their mobile phone number and email address. We'll then ask for the details if the key contact is to become a signatory or an internet banking user, and Danielle shared earlier on around what those access levels look like. We'll now move on to the next stage of the form, and this is all around your banking. So around which other products and services you'd like as part of the application, or if you'd like to hear about any additional products and services from us. Once you've then done that, we'll move on to the linked individuals. So this section is where you'll include all of the details for signatories, internet banking users, or if there are any other parties that require to have any access to the account. So signatories, that's anybody that can sign checks, authorised to make changes to the account once it's been opened, or internet banking, so that's anybody that can view, submit and authorise any payments once we've got to the end of the process. Now, important tip, if you can collate all those details ahead of actually applying, it will just save you a lot of time having to re-access the form and go back into it. So the details that we will require for all users will be their full names, dates of birth, nationalities, current home address, and also then if they've moved within the last 3 years, mobile telephone number and email address for each individual. Now, what happens when we get to the end of the form, we will actually check identities electronically. So what will happen if we're not able to do that successfully is we'll let you know if we do need to have then any identity documents or address verification documents from you. So that will be if we need to have a copy of any passports, driving licenses, or any copies of any utility bills. Once we're just finishing off the linked individuals, just a real call out as a reminder, you'll see the app reference number on the right hand side of the screen. So always just make a note of that. We will email it across to you, but make a note if you do ever need to contact us for any reason about the application. Once then all of the details have been entered, we'll now move on then to the next section, which is around then your permissions. And this is a really important part of the form. So this is around your statement preferences, online banking authority levels and payment authority levels. So how many people are needed to be able to authorize a transaction? We always recommend a minimum of 2 to make sure that you're protected and you've got dual control around making any payments out of the account. Again, we'll go on to the next stage, which is all the declarations. So again, please do read those carefully and select the boxes, and then you'll be in a position to complete the application. So you'll have some documents at this stage ready to then download as PDFs. You'll have a copy of the application form, which you've seen at the top section. You'll also then have the submission form. So the submission form is a really important document for us. What will require to happen is for you to be able to print, sign the form by all the signatories specified in black ink. And again, a reminder for you the ways that you can actually return that back to us. You can use the drag and drop tool, which you can see at the bottom right-hand of the screen. You can then also email through to us at us@unity.co.uk. Now, once we've got everything from you, on average, it takes less than 2 working days to be able to open the account. So we'll work through that really quickly for you. And what we'll let you know is once we get to the end of the process, we'll send you a welcome email to let you know all of our checks have been completed. What will then happen is you'll have your sort code and account number sent to you through the post, and you'll have then all the details for your internet banking users and the log-on credentials as well, so that you've got access. So hopefully that's been useful, and to share with you what then that journey actually looks like. And now I'm going to hand over to Claire, and she's going to talk around then the trade union support.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Tom. So next slide, please. So just a reminder that we have a dedicated area on our website, the Union Hub. There you will find lots of information to help you. The trade union brochure and trade union guides. Next slide, please. We know that sometimes you will need to talk to someone, which is why we have a dedicated team in Unity Experience. And we have a dedicated team of trade union relationship managers whose details are on the screen. We'll be sending an email to all unions asking if anyone would like to join us with our focus groups to give us feedback on our services. And now back to our webinar host.
Thank you so much to Claire, Danielle, and Tom. We covered a lot of information there, but don't worry if you missed any of it. Everyone in the audience, we will be sharing this recording with you, and of course the tutorials you can access on the Unity Trust Bank website. So we've had quite a lot of questions come in, and I've been jotting down a few as well that have come up in the chat. So I'm going to be putting them to our panel now. I'm going to try and group some of them together so we can answer as many as possible. But what we also want you to do while we're answering the questions is think about what future subjects you might want our great panel from Unity to cover in a webinar in 2026. So for example, fraud prevention, that could be something you might want to hear about. Think about any other subjects that you find when you're doing your union banking you want to know a bit more about, and pop them in the chat, and we'll make sure we factor that into our planning for next year. Okay, so we've had quite a few questions about checkbooks. They've come up in the chat and in the Q&A panel. So can we have a bit of a discussion about checkbooks? Like, some people are asking why we still use them. Some people are talking about how we pay them in. What's the status of checkbooks with Unity? Who wants to kick us off on that one?
Shall I start? And then we'll
not
pass
heard
over.
From you yet, Martin.
We haven't.
First, so yeah, go. We for
haven't.
It.
Yeah. So hi everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Martin Barrett. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Unity. If I sort of start us off on checks more generally, so and it's a poignant sort of set of questions because I did some work, some analysis on check volumes across all of our customers. But as Paul said in the introduction, 26% I think it is now of our total customer base is our union customers. The check usage, I mean, generally speaking, has been declining over a sort of long and slow decline over many years now, versus certainly where it was sort of 20, 25 years ago. And then the pandemic changed behaviours again, and because people weren't sort of leaving their house and moving around, the physical check sort of declined, I think, by about 65% overall in terms of the UK usage. And then as we were let back outside, it started to creep back up again. It's never gone back to pre-pandemic levels, but it went back up. It is on the decline again. And the analysis that we did just a couple of weeks ago showed that actually across all of our union customers over the last 24 months, it's declined by about 50%. So a really material drop in the number of union customers either having checks paid in or paying checks out. Now, if you sort of look at the way that the chart would go, and unfortunately we haven't got it as part of our slide material, but we've probably shown you quite a lot of information, so we won't show you another one today. That would look like it's probably going to sort of steady and then continue to exist for probably many years, but in ever decreasing volumes. will be driven by customers, really, as to if customers want to carry on using cheques, then we'll carry on providing them. And that really is the same as every other institution, every other bank across the country. But we are certainly noticing, and I think one of the chats talked about using BACS payments instead. And I think that was linked to charges. And really what we see is the charge for a cheque transaction being one of the off-putting things for all customers. And that is true for all bank customers. And then the time it takes. So both the sort of time to physically sort of manage a cheque, but also then the time it can take to be able to take it into somewhere to be paid in, and then for it to be sent to what we call a clearinghouse for it to then go through. So these things can take many, many days. And there are obviously, as the chat suggested, many more electronic methods to be able to use. So unions use cheques, as you will know, but you use cheques half as much as you used to use cheques just 2 years ago. And I don't know whether you would know that. You are definitely driving ahead with gradual reduction, probably for the reasons that I just mentioned. But I think in terms of some technical questions, I think there were a couple of questions, Anna, around sort of how do we get access to cheques if we still want them, and where can we pay them in? So I don't know, Claire, if you're best on that.
Using debit cards as an alternative as well.
Okay, I'll come back to debit cards in a moment if that's okay. But Claire, might you want to start us off on the sort of product offering?
Yeah, so just going back to the cheques, they are the ones that are most likely to be fraud to happen. So, you know, we would rather you, and I'm sure head office would rather you, you know, get onto online banking and use that. Danielle, with you paying in the cheques, NatWest.
Yeah, definitely. So just the technicalities of actually paying in a cheque. So this information as well is also available on the running your account page via the Union Hub as well. But you can deposit cheques either via envelope with a pre-printed paying-in slip to our free post address. And that free post address is just Unity Trust Bank 1984, all in capitals. That's all you will need to put on the envelope. Alternatively, you can pay in cheques at your local NatWest or RBS branch, or within Northern Ireland, that will be your Ulster Bank. So that will need to include your paying in slip as well. So that's the technicalities of actually paying in your cheque there. If you would like to order one, so as I mentioned, the stationery is something that you can order online as well. I think it's in a question, if you're no longer using your chequebook, what do you need to do with it? So I would encourage just returning that back to us so we can dispose of it in the right way. Alternatively, you know, if you can dispose of it in the correct way, then please do that as well. But I'd recommend sending it to us just so we know that that has all been cancelled for you, and to prevent any checks arising where we don't want them to. So yeah, hopefully that covers your questions, but happy to answer more if needed.
Thanks, Danielle. Did you want to come back at all, Martin, or are we okay to move on?
I just mentioned debit cards. I think there's some background noise, which is me, but that's because I sit with our telephony team. So they're actually on the phone to our customers right now. So I'll be brief. We don't offer a debit card at the moment. We do offer, as another chat has commented, something called the multi-pay card, which I'm sure we can share more details on later. We are, though, looking at a debit card for a future offering, but no dates just yet.
Thanks, Martin. Right, so next set of questions. And I think this was referred to quite a lot during the video demos, but what is a Unity Trust Bank relationship manager? Who are they? What do they do? Who wants to start with that one?
That'll be me. So we do have 3 relationship managers that are dedicated to the trade unions. There's Richard, Gareth and myself. We do more liaise with head offices. So when we were talking about if you haven't got enough signatures to make changes on your account, if you go to head office, and they will either send a letter in to one of the relationship managers or into Unity, signed in accordance with their mandate, and that would help you as a branch change any details on the account. If you're filling out a form that Tom went through, you don't necessarily have to put in a relationship manager if you don't know who they are, but you can put any of us, and our details have been on the screen.
Thank you, Claire. So again, terms that you mentioned during the tutorials, can you explain the difference between approval and authorization, if there is one, and also signatory, because there was a lot in there about that. Is there a difference, or are these words interchangeable?
Yeah, so I'll take that. So the authorization, approval, so our authority levels that we offer, so you have which it's VSA, so that stands for view, so that'll be anyone that can view your account. So I did see a question around auditors, so that's what they will have as well. So it's just viewing the account in full. The S stands for submit, so that'll be submitting anything new, so creating standing orders, new beneficiaries, or new payments. And then your A will be your authorization or approval, depending on how you work it. So it is exactly the same thing. So we do recommend you having, dual authority on your account. So one person submitting, one person approving, just to protect your account better. We can go up to triple, and you can select individual limits and things as well, should you want that to have that further on the form. But initially, those are the 3 authority levels that you can have, depending on what you would like per individual. Hopefully that answers the question as well.
Thanks, Danielle. Okay, we've had a few people post in the chat since we mentioned the multi-pay cards. Can we get a bit more explanation on what that is? What does it mean? What does it do? How do you get one?
That'll be me again. So the corporate purchasing card. So it was formerly known as multi-pay, but it's the corporate corporate purchasing card on our website. We have partnered with Lloyds to bring you this facility. So it is actually a charge card. So it does have similar functionalities of a credit card. It is subject to credit approval, so you will have set limits on the card. You'll have a corporate limit, and then you can also have individual cardholder limits as well. And it's initially a £50 setup fee. So I believe you'll all meet the eligibility criteria. So there is 3 forms to complete online, which I'm sure will be another great webinar, who knows, in the new year that we can run through. But it is initially a £50 setup fee, and it is a £3 charge per card per month as well, that we do have for that. But again, please do just read it on the website, just in case it is something that interests you. I know it is replacing a lot, for like checks and things like that as well. So do check that out. But yeah, I'm happy to share more information to share out if anybody would like that after the session.
Thanks again, Danielle. What about taking payments? How can a bank account, other than BACS, is there any other way that a branch could take payments in?
Who fancies that one? Danielle?
Yeah, sorry. So is that just the collect payments? Sorry, was that question? You've done the same as me now. Rookie errors here.
How can we take payments into our account other than by BACS?
Yes.
I imagine, for example, like maybe taking if something's being sold.
Right. I mean, we would have the collectional, like for you, like direct debits, things like that for subscriptions, but that is all through the BACS facility. So again, we do have different tariffs for our BACS facility there as well, just depending on like the volumes that you would expect. But again, we can share more information about that should you need to, just on the different tariffs that we have, to see if it's something that you would like in the future and what we do actually have available. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
I guess we also, hopefully you can hear me. We also have CHAPS as a payment mechanism, which tends to be for very, very high value. Those would probably most likely go through the regional or head office accounts, I think, and then faster payments, bulk faster payments, which I think Danielle ran through earlier. But again, as you're probably sick of us saying now, the website's pretty good for all of this base information, and we can certainly talk about these things in more detail at future sessions.
Thank you. Right, we've had a lot of questions about signatories to accounts. So adding, removing, changing. Someone's even asked if a signatory is refusing to fill out the form to remove them. And we've had a lot of questions about this. How do you do it? What's, the process? What evidence do you need, etc., etc. So who wants to talk about adding and removing or changing signatories?
That'll be me again. So the first video that I ran through then, so it's our online account management form. So today we ran through specifically on how to add individuals to the account. However, at the start of that form, you will have a list. So you'll have the option to update a key contact should you want to change your correspondence. You can also update existing individuals, so authority levels or any changes of addresses that individuals may have had. You can remove individuals and also update individual authority levels or your banking authority levels as well for internet banking. Also statement preferences as well is an option there. So you can do it, complete it all in one go. You won't need to submit multiple applications at one time. So when we get to the end where you are actually adding, so we're asking for, existing signatories to sign. I think I've seen a question, what if, you don't live, you live far away from each other, it's quite difficult to get those signatures. So we're more than happy to accept 2 copies of the submission form, one with one signature, one with the other. It still has the same reference application number against it. So we can absolutely use that. We can upload it via your application, or you can submit it using our drag and drop tool. So you can just drop both of those documents in along with any ID as well. So I think I also seen whilst we're on signatories at the moment is how do I view them or can I change them online? So the key contact is usually selected to be the administrator on the account. So they will have access when they log in to what we call our people tab. So that will give you sight of who the existing signatories are, what the internet authority levels are. So any type of bank mandate or anything like that that you do require, you'll be able to get those through the people tab as well. So that's a really useful tool. You can have more than one administrator if you want to, but usually the key contact or correspondence contact, whichever you prefer, is normally the one that has the administrator with that access. So alternatively, you can send us a secure message through online as well. So if you are unsure of something before you submit it, we do have quite a quick turnaround, normally within 24 hours. And we're more than happy to ask those questions as well if you are unsure whenever you come to it.
Anna, if I might add as well, what we're also looking into is the ability to give more online opportunities as well as or as alternates to the forms and wet signature. So you'll be aware for your own personal banking experiences that sort of filling in forms, a bit like checks, is less of a thing these days. So we're continuing to look at our online facilities and to be able to give you more self-serve options so that you can do this without filling forms and getting signatories. That's a little bit more complicated where you've got multiple relationships such as regional offices, head offices, and then branches such as yourselves. But that's exactly the kind of focus groups that we're holding with union customers all at the moment to try to build this out in 2026 and beyond.
Thanks, Martin. Can you talk a bit, please, about different levels of authority on the account? I know we've covered some of this already, but who is allowed to do what? We've got someone who, I can't find someone who is a signatory but can't do certain things, who maybe needs to. What do the different levels allow you to do?
So initially, so if I break it down, so when so initially you will need to submit your access levels for your branch initially. So making payments and things, do you want it to be a single authority? Do you want a dual? So that'll be 2 people involved in anything like payments, or triple, or would you want specific users? So for example, myself being the submitter of everything, and then it can be anyone that has authorized access. So that's the first level of authority that we'll have to submit on the account. The second part is then individual authorities, what we just touched on. So that's your view, submit, and authorize. So for example, if I'm trying to make a payment, but I only have VA access, I can only view the account and authorise things. I won't be able to submit them. So it may just be a case that you don't have the full level of access. So I would recommend referring to your administrator so that they can check that people tab. Alternatively, again, you can send us a secure message and we can confirm that through a verified channel for you. So you don't need to call us if that's not something you want to do. There is other channels of communication available for you there as well. And if you are coming across, you want to make changes through our online account management form, and those individuals are not available to sign because they have left, you can also contact your regional or head office as well. They'll be able to confirm those details with you or sign the submission form if existing signatories are not available as well. So those are your two different levels of authority.
Thanks, Danielle. We'll see if there's a question maybe for someone else now. So we had a question about bank mandates. Can people get hold of them? Can customers get hold of them? And also for people like me who don't know, what is a bank mandate?
And then Tom.
There we go. I thought it was going to be Danielle again. I mean, in the simplest form, your bank mandate is, who can actually have instruction to make any changes. She'll have then those individuals that will then be able to either sign a check in accordance with what those rules are specified or make any changes through account management, which Danielle's already talked through.
And I think, I don't know, Claire, whether you'd agree with this. I think sometimes it could be quite a complicated piece of paper, if you like, because the larger your structure is and the more layers within the structure, it can be quite hard to figure out where you are in that. And I think, Claire, we would probably advise branches and treasurers and auditors and anybody who's involved probably trying to talk to their regional or head office, depending on the structure of the union, in order to be able to get clarity on that, because it will probably help in finding your way around the bank mandate for your accounts. Would you agree, Claire, Danielle?
I would agree with that, yes. So if you are having difficulty, just contact your head office. When you've applied and you've got your application number, make sure when you're actually contacting head office, you're giving them that application and number and actually detailing what you need to do, and tell them how many people you've got on the mandate to sign. And then if there's other people that have retired and we need 2 people, we can get head office to authorise the changes. They will send that into us and we will attach that to the application forms.
Thank you for that, Claire. I think we've probably got time for a couple more questions. A quick one. Can we get the details of who the relationship managers are and the regions perhaps that they cover? Is it done by geography? If this is available on your website, we'll make sure that is sent out to viewers. But if you could just tell us where you can find that as well, please.
Well, it's a bit difficult, really, because there's 3 of us and we don't do this by regional. So I would suggest to put, if you want to speak to a relationship manager, you've got the contact details there. We will speak to you, email us, and we'll get in contact. And if you need to know who it is, or we'll all share it, basically,
Thanks, Claire. And we've just put in the chat an email address that you can send any queries to about your bank account. If there's something we've not covered today as well, do send it in. We'll be taking note of everything that's been posted that we've not got to, and we'll be using it for future webinar planning as well. A comment that came in the chat a couple of minutes ago that I'm going to put out there as perhaps a future webinar is best practice tips on branch finances, like maybe how many different people you need, different roles you assign to them, just to make sure that things are done in the safest and smoothest way. We can perhaps come back to that once. I just zoomed by a minute ago. Let's see if we've got time for one more question that we can take a look at now before we close. We've got a viewer who wants to open an account with you, who is from a trades council. but it's perhaps been dormant for a while. So they don't have a lot of the evidence to show previous accounts or statements, etc. And that has maybe proved quite difficult when trying to set up the account. So have you got any advice for someone in this situation?
Sure, I'll take this one. So there's other documents that we may be able to obtain to be able to complete all of our checks. So there's a variety of different options that we can actually look at, and that sometimes can be on a case-by-case basis. So if there's any specifics, then if you can email through to us at Unity, and then I can take a look at those, and then we can work through, how do we actually overcome some of those obstacles?
Thanks, Tom. And yes, we have covered a lot in this hour, huge amount of information, both in the discussion and in the videos earlier. But I am going to wrap up now because we're very nearly done. 60 minutes. As I said, we will be doing more webinars with Unity Trust Bank next year. We'll be planning with them the best subjects to do, and we'll space them throughout 2026. I can't remember the year just then. But this is the final webinar for 2025 from the TUC. As I said in the opening, this was the 16th, so it's been a really busy year. We are so delighted that you keep coming back to join us to learn about workplace issues and how you can get better in helping members, helping working people in your role as a rep. It just remains with me to thank Claire, Danielle, Tom, Martin, and of course Colin and Paul, who were on earlier, for joining us today, and thank you all for joining us in the audience. I think we're going to just hear a last couple of things from our
yes,
panelists.
I'll be so quick. Thank you so much, everybody, for your feedback, for everything that you've put in the chat. The reason that we did this, just to remind you, is we had feedback directly from you as our union customers through our customer satisfaction survey. Please do continue to fill in those surveys. It helps us realise what we need to talk to you in more detail about, and the videos have been produced specifically on the back of what you've asked us to do. So we will do more of that if you can keep the feedback coming. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Martin, and have a fantastic festive period, everyone. And I will see you in January 2026. So bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.